All right. So, in a departure from the usual way that I talk, when I say Goyf today, I am actually just going to mean Tarmogoyf. Hello, folks. Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU, here for another modern video. And today we're going to be testing out a new card in a Jund shell, Rydia, Summoner of Mist. So this is landfall, discard a card. If you do, draw a card, and summon, which doesn't have any particular real meaning to it. So we're going to tap this card to return target Saga card with mana value X or less from our graveyard to play with a finality counter on it. It gains haste, activated only as a sorcery. So if you notice, we are not playing any of the summon sagas here. We are straight up just playing Urza's Saga. So what are we doing with this here? This is meant to be a card that can allow us to loot, which is often very valuable in non-blue decks, and we are going to have some graveyard-oriented cards within this deck that are going to benefit from various card types, either creatures or lands, being in the graveyard, or in the case of Tarmogoyf, absolutely everything. So we are essentially a Jund Urza's Saga deck. Now, of note here, every time you start putting colorless utility lands into a deck, it does stretch your mana base. So even though we are Jund, I imagine that this mana base is going to feel like a 4-color mana base. We have 23 lands, and we have some ways to make additional land drops or some ways to kind of loot. But I imagine we will feel some pressure from Urza Saga being in the mana base, especially since if you look at the number of turn 2 plays that we have that are double colored pip, Urza's Saga does not actually contribute to those. This deck list comes to us from John B. It looks pretty sweet. We'll see how it plays out in practice. I am not a modern expert, so I usually don't adjust modern lists when I get them. We have a handful of targeted cards in our sideboard for various matches. I'm just going to highlight the one that my legacy players are least likely to know, Obsidian Charmaw. That can be a respectable land destruction spell against decks featuring a large number of colorless lands. So, when in doubt, let's Jund them out. And if you need any Jund cards, or I guess you could theoretically order blue cards as well. It's a little weird, but whatever floats your boat. Consider using my sponsor, toamagic.com. Promo code ThrabenU will save you 5% on your order. You always get free shipping. They have excellent customer service. Occasionally, I will order something and I'll be like, hey, if you can get me this card, I will happily buy that too. And every time that I've done that, they have gotten me that bonus card. They are awesome. With that being said, let's battle. So this was exactly what I was talking about with Urza's Saga in a 3-color deck. If this Ren and 6 was castable, I think this hand is insane. As is, I can deal a large amount of damage to myself via Thoughtseize, and I have 2 cards stranded in hand and a disappearing land. That does not sound great to me. Whereas this looks nuts. I'm going to keep this and just junk the Shadow Spear. I can fetch that out with an Urza Saga later if I need it. Bloodstained Mire. Basic Mountain. And it looks like we're going to be playing against an aggro or tempo deck of some kind. I mean, I'm not going to say no to that. I was intending on playing this a little more conservatively and not losing a bunch of life immediately with my lands, but that's fine. I don't want to risk that becoming a 3/3 or that surveilling a bunch of stuff in graveyard. So even though I could potentially kill that with Bowmasters, I think I'm just going to let it go here. That is a 1/2, unfortunately for me. That one will not die to Bowmasters. So I'm going to get hit for some damage here. And hopefully I find some more removal. Yep. So my opponent is going to queue up a card draw, which means that Bowmasters can, in theory, become removal for this. I need to take a quick look at my mana base. I do have a basic mountain, which I think I will fetch here. And then I'm going to attempt to kill this in upkeep, and we'll see how it goes. So, yeah. So we're going to attempt ping here, and then if my opponent draws this card, I get to finish it off. There's all sorts of things that can disrupt this, but I think it is worth trying. We have failed. Now, this is a flyer. My orc can't block this. We'll see how much damage I end up taking here. And the Lava Dart means that the next Bowmaster is not particularly potent either. Land drop. Bolt my face. I am at 11. Lava Dart my face. I am at 10. And this can just be flashback for lethal here. Lava Dart to face. Lethal. On turn 3. After a removal spell. Not mad. Just impressed. That's a good draw from my opponent. So I will probably be interested in things that can remove creatures here. EE feels slow. So probably don't need that. Probably don't need that. This can technically gain life, but is unimpressive. Yeah, that can probably just go. This is very slow in this matchup. I have to decide how much I value the selection there. This is a full-on drain, right? Yeah. So is this better than Fable? Fable comes down a turn slower, but kind of loots faster. Kind of. Rydia with fetch land can do a lot of looting. I'm going to trim 1. I also don't like super love Thoughtseize here, I say as I draw 2 of them. I think I will keep this. I think I am playing my tapped land on turn 1. Give myself the greatest flexibility to cast this or multiple spells on turn 2. I might end up looting through the Thoughtseizes in this hand. And I think I am okay with guaranteeing that land drop, but it's an awkward one because that doesn't let me double spell. This is just contributing to Fable later. All right, I've talked myself out of that. All right, let's see what my opponent's got going. Modern tax of starting the game at 17 life and just a cantrip. That's fine. That probably means that I Thoughtseize here. Then decide if I need to Thoughtseize again. Corey Steelcutter and get out of here. Do not want my opponent having that. Murktide Regent currently just eats it to an Edict effect. Do I have another Surveil land, Theater, and Mortuary? I do. I think I am just going to Surveil land with the remainder of my turn. Save my precious points of life. Maybe loot through this. Alright, that is a Swift Spear. You got it. So with that trigger on the stack, I will bolt this. I need red-green. This does cost me some life. Yeah. Get out of there. My Bowmasters is not... well, got a lot better. My opponent will crack that bauble, and then I can Bowmasters. Okay, so they've done this in a way where they will be able to Lava Dart the Bowmasters now. Sure, I am into this. I'm just going to play Fable and probably loot away these 2 cards. Be a basic swamp here, given the current land distribution. My opponent redraws. Imagine that I'm going to end up just losing this to Unholy Heat. Yes. I think that mountain was played. I think that's that. Oh, that's a big Tarmogoyf. So I'm always looting away this. The Thoughtseize is actually not crazy now. I can use it, take the Murktide Regent, and then use Shoulder's Edict on DRC. Or I could just try to find any other removal spell and not do something that costs me life. I think this is guaranteed, though. Emperor of Bones can do some cool stuff. Alright, so... Thoughtseize you. Oh yeah, take Murktide Regent. Double Lava Dart left over. And I will drop a Tarmogoyf. I'll take 3, and then hopefully at that point I clear the board. Alright, so that comes back. Throw down this. That's fine if something like Corey Steelcutter happens. I will keep that. Go ahead and send in for 5, and then I'm going to Edict this in my opponent's upkeep. They might Lava Dart my face. I might actually Shoulder's Edict this right now and make them kind of force decisions about Lava Dart. Yeah. Alright, please sacrifice a non-token creature. And then my opponent can decide if they want to Lava Dart me in response, and they do. Alright, they keep the card on top. And I am potentially throwing out a very large amount of damage. I hit for 10. Next turn, if I make a copy of Tarmogoyf, think I am going for hasty Tarmogoyfs, and I'm going to hold up Abrupt Decay. Next turn, I can attack with 2 different bodies to attempt to present lethal. All right, that is a lava dart at my face. I am at 6, which is effectively 3 if my opponent has another land. But I have Abrupt Decay for creature-based damage. Ooh. So I am dead to another bolt, or I am dead to another mountain or lava dart. Fuck. Yeah. That's triple lava dart to face. 1, 2, and 3. We survived longer there and got a significant game plan going. But the direct damage got there. GG's. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com. If you want to see upcoming sets, if you want to understand commander brackets, or if you just want an awesome place to store all, and I mean all, of your deck lists, Moxfield is the place. You can organize all of your decks by folders, and you can even change the views. You like visual, they've got that. You like text, they've got that. Check out my Moxfield Pro Field if you want to see all, and I mean all, of the decks that I've been cooking up. Okay, I have a turn 2 Renin 6 here. That's a card that's banned in Legacy, so hopefully it feels good in Modern, but I am starting this game at 15 life. If we were playing against another aggressive deck, that's a little scary. I'm going to think about this for a second and then take my opponent's Kozilek's command. They have a hot load of nothing in the short term. Like, they have plenty of mana, and I'm fine leaving my opponent with the Emrakul that can go under that land. I think I'm just going to go ahead and fix my mana here. Get back my fetch land. And then hopefully I am just able to aggro out my opponent with stuff that looks like this before they get to their end game. Stock up is great. I'm going to go ahead and fetch. I'm already at 14, so I think I'm just going to grab a basic here. I will do some looting and looting lands into graveyard and then bringing them back with Renin 6 is pretty sweet. We've got good synergy going, but we're not presenting the world's best clock. The emblem here from Renin 6 is reasonable. World map. Search for a basic land card or search for a land card. Ooh. Seems good. So I'm just going to yes and loot through 2 lands. And then I think I start farting around with this. But I probably do that. Well, no, I can get it back and activate it twice with the treasure token. So let's do this. 18. At the end of this phase, I am going to Boseiju this and have my opponent choose between activating Expedition Map and returning this Emrakul to hand. They're going to go ahead and float the mana and then use the mana. I guess they could use the world map now that they have an untapped island as well. And they will. The mine, power plant, and tower are theoretically good to go, but that's theoretically because I just start attacking the other lands as well, turn them into islands. Seems good. I don't know how many different basic lands my opponent actually has over there. Let's plus. I will return that Boseiju. I'll go to punchies. I'll send in. Opponent's at 16. I think I am happy enough playing a Tarmogoyf here, which I can just end up copying. And I think I'm going to have lethal next turn. You can search. Getting an Ugin's Labyrinth. You've got it. Another island. Opponent's just passing the turn here. I will lightning bolt your face. 13. Yeah, my opponent concedes there. I've got them dead a couple of different ways. I can copy a Tarmogoyf, attack in for a bunch, ultimate this Planeswalker, lightning bolt my opponent's face twice. Seems good. Happy to win game 1 there. My land destruction spell here seems fine. My opponent does have a good amount of basic islands, though. I don't know exactly what the deck construction looks like here, but I imagine Pithing Needle is good for some top-end Planeswalker. I imagine that Damping Sphere does work. Ghost Vacuum seems like it can go. Spell Bomb seems like it can go. This can sometimes snipe some stuff. This seems fine. Fatal pushes don't seem great. Deck run Glaring Fleshraker. I guess I should look at what a Tron deck looks like. The random list I pulled did not have Glaring Fleshraker, so I don't think I'm going to think about that. Oh, excuse me. I think I'm going to fill the last slot just with an Abrupt Decay. 0 mana. Auto Mulligan. This is pretty medium. I could Called Shot Pithing Needle on... Oh. Yeah, I get it, honestly. It happens. GG's. A little sad, though. I found this match pretty interesting. I got to do some cool things with Boseiju Recursion that I wasn't really expecting going into the league. It's so easy in Legacy to, like, run in 6 Wasteland lock people. That wasn't really okay. So that was the modern version of it, which feels totally balanced and fine. Okay, my opening hand is fine, but it does not have initial green mana. I don't think I'm going to sweat that. I think I am going to plan on just having some large Urza Saga Construct tokens, and I kind of hope that I can Fatal Push a creature in the first turn cycle. Use my mana efficiently. Let's see what they've got. Basic Plains. Yeah, I will absolutely kill that. Is it worth 2 life to hold up another removal spell? Probably. Get out of here. Because if I do this, I can play Fable and Urza Saga next turn. Ah! Well, shit. Doesn't work. Am I still into playing Urza Saga, or would I like to just play a green land? I think large lifelinking tokens is a real path to victory, especially if Fable attacks and makes extra treasure tokens. We'll see if I regret that. Opponent has land drop 3, goes to 15, and we've got a Seasoned Pyromancer. Binning a Flage directly, not bad. So I can block A damage any number of ways here. And my attack in is not, like, perfectly safe. A Wrenn and 6. That's interesting. I think I'm going to loot through 2. Actually, what does this Wrenn and 6 actually do here? I guess it pings things like Ocelot Pride, but that's, like, very much not the problem. I think I would like to find more removal here. More real removal. Loot through those. That's real removal. That can kill a Flage. So I guess I need a permanent to leave play if I want to kill Seasoned Pyromancer. I can sacrifice a treasure to do that. Okay. So send it. Actually, would I be fine making this trade? I would be fine making that trade. Yep, that's perfectly fine. I think I will go ahead and pay the 2 life here to keep the treasure for the future. I'm just going to go ahead and kill Voice of Victory. And then next turn, I can make an Urza's Saga token and still Molten Collapse Flage. And I guess I could... Hate that. That's a hasty Flage. You've got it. That is going to be 6 direct damage to my face. Life gain obviously good here. I will go to 8. Wish I had 1 more mana. I thought I was going to have more time versus that Flage to Molten Collapse it safely, but this Arena of Glory had other plans. Is it fine to go to 1? I make a 5. So I make an Urza Saga token. I have to Molten Collapse Flage so it doesn't attack again. I'm going to take the 6, I think. Take that block. Go to 2. Then I'm not sure if I get to make the other token. I think I need to Shadow Spear equip and gain some life. So counting this as a land, I can make a token, kill you, not equip. So then this is just going to be mana. Ghost Vacuum sounds good here. My opponent has multiple graveyard-oriented cards. Will destroy target creature. Yeah. And yeah. I will equip here. I'll make the land drop, which I may or may not end up cracking immediately. 16. I think this is 5. This is on the table immediately. But with Trample, I don't super care about the 1/1s. I don't know. I could in a minute. Let's do that. And then hopefully I just copy a Construct token and crash in for a very large amount of damage. Yes. You've got it. Sure. I think this is probably fine. Do a mountain here. 2 Bowmasters. Ping this cat. You can make the Planeswalker if you want. I can attack it very well. And they don't. Oh, that's a lot of Bowmasters. So I will target Bowmasters here. I will ping this cat. I will target Bowmasters here. I will ping this cat. Send in. 11. I go ahead and just vacuum Flage. Opponent can get a Surveil land at end of turn. Probably good from here. And next turn, I put the Shadow Spear on the Orc Army token and gain a bunch of life. Guide of Souls is good. Bajani is great. There's some much needed life gain for my opponent to make sure they don't get burnt out. Ooh. How scary is that? There's no red permanent in play, luckily. Opponent's going for the counters so that Bowmaster pings don't kill the cat warriors. Reasonable. Thoughtseize is not great. So I'm going to equip this. This is a 4/4, effectively a 5/5 lifelinker. I imagine that means I'm just sending into the Planeswalker. The attacks with the Bowmasters are a little weird, because coupled with Reflection of Kiki-Jiki, that can kill something. And if I lose both Bowmasters... Well, I guess if I lose both Bowmasters, my opponent doesn't have an Ajani anymore. If I send in with this, my opponent lets the Planeswalker go. They, like, block. I lose both of these. I don't have anything good to copy. I still have this on board. Weird spot. I think I'm going to send everything in, leave back Reflection of Kiki-Jiki for flexibility, and see what my opponent thinks of this. I think that Planeswalker is the most important thing on the board, followed by the Guide of Souls. Alright, so counting the Orc token getting 1 bigger, I currently have 3 going through to the Planeswalker. So I don't kill it. I think I am into copy, finish off, Guide of Souls. 3 to the Planeswalker. I lose the Bowmasters. And hopefully that's fine. I'm at 11 life. I'm not in danger of dying to this immediately. And it's just like, how good is this top deck this turn? I am working towards Ghost Vacuum make a bunch of friends in the not too distant future as well. Yes. We dodged a red permanent. That's great. Opponent might have something like a land in hand. I will take 3 back. That's fine. We'll start vacuuming some stuff from graveyard. Urza's Saga. Sure. Would be a great time for my opponent not to have a removal spell. Cats are wilding out there. I don't know if you can hear that, but they are losing their kitty minds. I'm not going to Thoughtseize. I don't think that's worth the life. I think I'm just going to move this around, save this to potentially loot. This keeps this cat warrior token from attacking. Yeah, that'll do. Just for fun, because I don't have anything else to do with the mana. We're going to make a copy of our Orc Army token. It's a 0/0 and dies instantly. I will take 5. I am at 8. I will sacrifice the other non-existent Orc Army token and do some light housework. Saga ticks up. Tarmogoyf is totally fine and good. Let's attempt to gain a bunch of life. 5. 9. I think I just extract my Ghost Vacuum Urza Saga value this turn rather than throwing down the large Tarmogoyf. Is that true? Yeah, it's at 3/3. That's fine. I can then make another Urza Saga token and Tarmogoyf the following turn. Static Prison's good. Opponent is doing it on the Ghost Vacuum. That is threatening to give me a lot of bodies and a lot of life. So I get it. An opponent has 8 energy chilling there, too. This does mean that this token will be a 2/2. Opponent's not attacking into it, though. They are now on the defensive. Oh boy, that's another Urza Saga. Excuse me. Haywire Might is kind of cute. I think I'm just going to take Spellbomb, though. So, yeah, we'll send in here. The double blocks are fine, given how much value I have here. So this puts my opponent to 3, and now I get to deploy Urza Saga, deploy Tarmogoyf, And I can take a redraw with Spell Bomb, clearing my opponent's graveyard, potentially keeping something like Lage from slipping in. Although I don't really see how that would happen. All right. We are done here. My Ghost Vacuum comes back. I will vacuum a creature away. Not even going to take the redraw here. It will impact the size of my Tarmogoyf. Plus, I just think my opponent's dead. And in for lethal. Galvanic Discharge. That can actually get the Tarmogoyf here. But I imagine they can't get rid of 2 constructs after that. GG. But we've got another one. Wait, that was game 1? Holy shit, that was a long game 1. My tools seem roughly appropriate, although there's some other removal and things I can technically be thinking about. I don't think I like Thoughtseize here. I think I am trying to control the board most of the time, and to a secondary degree I care about the graveyard. What about Rydia? The looting is valuable. Rydia is going to die to the Pyroclasms that I board in, which is not ideal. Urza Saga is a hell of a way to grind as the game goes on, but it sure does feel like she's the weak link, specifically because I'm boarding in Pyroclasm. Otherwise, I would be perfectly happy with her turning lands into more removal spells. I just get more value from Fable if my opponent bolts or uses a white removal spell or a Galvanic Discharge on it. All right, so is that just all of those? Yeah, that's all of those, and I don't need to think about it. Is Haywire Might or getting rid of Static Prisons and Golem Bombardments better than Rydia? I think yes. I have another Spellbomb that I could have thought about. This is a reasonable opening hand versus 1 toughness creatures. So if Ocelot Pride, for example, is a part of my opponent's game plan, this looks really good. Otherwise, it's pretty mediocre. And I'm just going to aggressively surveil most things into the graveyard here because of Tarmogoyf. And my opponent can surveil as well, which may help grow the Tarmogoyf. It did not help grow the Tarmogoyf. Land drop 2 and a Ajani. How do I feel about both of us getting a Planeswalker? Awkward? I think I feel awkward about that. I think I am just going to establish a body. This is a killable Tarmogoyf, though. If this is still in... No, actually, it's not in range of Lightning Bolt because of how that works, because a Lightning Bolt is in the graveyard by the time that Tarmogoyf's toughness would be checked. Or sorry, the damage on Tarmogoyf would be checked to see if it was lethal damage. There's a Guide of Souls. I won't be blocking this. I don't want this to turn into the Planeswalker, or if it does, I would prefer it to be on my own terms. We've got a fetch. Yeah. My opponent gets some energy and life, then transforms. I hope they don't put +1/+1 counters on the cats, because that really makes my hand worse. They did not, which I am thankful for. Ooh, that's nice. I think I am interested in an immediate Surveil land to see if Tarmogoyf grows. That is a sorcery, which is not in graveyard yet, but it's a pretty good card. I guess I am just keeping that on top. Going to kill that. Unfortunately, it is a creature in graveyard, not a Planeswalker. And then I think I'm trying to hold the ground with Tarmogoyf. The air is still viable, though. The next turn, I get to take 2 of these bodies out of play. Hopefully my Tarmogoyf doesn't die here. Otherwise I take 7. Yep. I am taking 7. Oh god, am I taking more? Am I just going to eat a Flage too? Seasoned Pyromancer. I'm going to take 9 if my opponent maxes out on Elementals. No, they only need 1. Because, well, I guess the Seasoned Pyromancer itself counted too. Rough. So I kill a creature, ping a creature. Unclear whether or not that is actually going to be enough. Do I have to kill this? I hope not. Kill this, ping this, have some reasonable blocks. I don't know that I can leave the flyer, but this is going to eat me alive too. I think this is a 1 problem at a time situation. I think my opponent has a ton of cards that beat me here. Flage is bad, Lightning Bolt is bad, Goblin Bombardment is bad, Ocelot Pride is bad. Everybody come into party. Here's Bowmasters. I ping and kill a cat. I can run in 6 and kill an X1 creature in a minute. I could double block the Guide of Souls, take 5, go to 1. I don't super see how I beat that, though. Like, win from that position. I think I'm kind of hoping that my opponent has bottomed out here. I am dead to Bolt with the way that I have blocked. Oh, fuck, there was a Flage. Did not see that get surveilled. In which case, I was always dead. I will concede there. You don't need to put it on the stack. GG. And hopefully, when I'm on the play, things will look a little better. My Renin 6s and Orcish Bowmasters did not line up against my opponent's draw, which was very unfortunate. I don't think this is enough gas here to be reasonable. This looks fine. I'm going to keep this. I'm hoping to Pyroclasm a few creatures and then I think start doing Urza Saga stuff. I could just try to curve Pyroclasm into Fable, though, and keep all my lands that produce valid mana instead. And just draw one of these eventually. I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to plan on a Surveil land in this turn cycle. I also need to be cognizant of my clock. I'm not super familiar with this format, and accordingly have been playing slowly. I don't think I am in danger of timing out, but things can get weird. I'm going to go ahead and just Surveil land here, picking up red. That's fine. I think I'm going to send it to graveyard for Tarmogoyf purposes. The Illusion of Choice. I'm just going to play another Surveil land this turn, and then we'll kind of see what goes on with this Guide of Souls. I'm hoping to just Pyroclasm 2 or 3 creatures. We'll see how it plays out. I'll absolutely take 1 in combat from this rather than attempt to remove it immediately. Opponent does not attack into Bowmasters and does not make any other plays. In which case, I won't make any plays. I will just Surveil land. Where I might doesn't sound great against current resources. So I could tap out for Fable. Maybe make my opponent waste resources on the token and then Pyroclasm. Seems fine. Like, incentivize my opponent to play more things into Pyroclasm, which is the sort of thing that they might be playing around right now. Like, I would love to 1-for-1 my opponent with this Shaman token. It's more awkward if they just do something like play Flage and eliminate this. 17. Goblin Bombardment. You've got it. And Galvanic Discharge. That's fine. This probably means that I just end up Fatal Pushing this creature and we'll Pyroclasm a bunch of stuff later. I'm going to loot through the lands, attempt to turn them into spells. This is the point of the game where I would be perfectly happy drawing something like Urza Saga. Now, I think I am just going to go ahead and Fatal Push the Guide of Souls immediately. You can throw that at my face, that's fine. I will play a Renin 6. I will plus that. I'm just going to get a land that doesn't cost me life. And then I think my mana is going here in the future. I have exactly enough mana to 2-mana Pyroclasm and Urza Saga. Seasoned Pyromancer. For 1 token, play another creature. Yes, yes. 14. Oh, it's a discharge. Sure. Not bad. Witherbloom Command. This is 1 or less, right? No, 2 or less. Hell yeah. If I destroy Goblin Bombardment, is my opponent going to kill my Reflection of Kiki-Jiki? Guess let's find out. Green and black. Alright, they are. So this was a Pyroclasm without actually playing a Pyroclasm. I'm perfectly happy with. I will pick up a land. I will play a land and pass. I've got Urza's Saga for Shadow Spear going, and I can still wipe some smaller creatures and have targeted spot removal for others. This game is going fine. I also might end up just picking up like Ghost Vacuum or Spell Bomb or something. All right, we're chilling. I will make a friend. Is this instant speed? It is instant speed. Ooh, nice. So let's go, yeah. I'll take the vacuum in respect of Flage. Go to Punchies. I'm going to Punchies. Yes, you may absolutely block. This is expected. Then I will throw down the Tarmogoyf, and I still have the capability of Fatal Pushing. It's big, whatever it is. Wrath of the Skies, X equals 3. That's devastating. Let's exile just some random card from your graveyard. And I'm just going to thin a land from the deck here. It should have been a green one, but I'm very unlikely to use multiple green in a single turn. All Fable and pass. Oh my god, Showdown of the Skalds. That is a rough amount of card advantage. You've got it. So those are playable. Yes. So I can Haywire Might and get rid of this so that my opponent doesn't go wild on +1/+1 counters. I'm gonna loot Fatal Push. I found Lightning Bolt. I'm just going to Haywire Might, exile the Showdown, and then pass my turn. And there's still problems, like my opponent got an insane amount of value out of Wrath of the Skies and Showdown of the Skalds. But now, hopefully, I Pyroclasm away a seasoned Pyromancer at some point, and things are better. I might end up Lightning Bolting it because I have this Reflection of Kiki Jiki that I theoretically want to protect. Maybe I should have looted away Pyroclasm. Yes. And that's just a straight draw 2 there. Just sick value, since opponent was Hellbent. Oh, that was one from hand. That's even worse for me then. Now, if I get rid of these with Pyroclasm, they are going to come back as elementals. Unfortunately, that might just be what's happening here. So, clear board, run in 6, plus, pick up Urza's Saga, play Urza's Saga, and pass. Good timeout here. Parlor, Johnny to graveyard. Raven Charm destroys the enchantment. That buys my opponent some time. I will just do it again. Tarmogoyf is great. Get Urza's Saga. Play Urza's Saga. Play green thing that hits like a truck. Opponent makes some friends. I can ping those friends if I need to get in for damage. Yes. I'll kill that on my own turn. Lightning Bolt. Cool. I'm not going to think about this too much here because I am low on clock. I'm going to send in with a Tarmogoyf that can get chump blocked for like 4 turns in a row. Yeah. And I'm just going to ping and kill one of these and pass the turn. Then my opponent can use their other seasoned Pyromancer to make 2 more tokens, which is theoretically fine, but obviously good for my opponent. I would prefer it if my Ren in 6 doesn't die. There is a Flage. I might not get my way. Arena of Glory, real good here. Hopefully I just make a lifelinking Tarmogoyf, and we're just good. You got it. Just die into Flage anyway. Alright, there's Flage. It's going to kill my Ren in 6. And then I'm just going to Lightning Bolt this token. Save myself some more time. Emperor of Bones. I don't think that does anything cool. I don't really have time to check, honestly. Oh, fuck. I don't have the right card. Nice. Sacrifice a non-token creature. Bam. 7. And I'm just going to time out. Another Flage. Puts my opponent to 14, and I don't think I get 2 attacks in 2 seconds. Alright, come on, opponent. I'm about to time out. So what's happening here is my opponent is trying to maximize the chance that I time out by just randomly waiting. Cool. And we'll see if I get that last attack in. My opponent plays any blocker. They've got it. Don't be this person, folks. I don't care whether or not I win or lose. But if you are doing things to intentionally grief your opponents, like sitting here intentionally wasting their time, that's not great. Bad luck. So they have floated mana, moved to draw step, and are now pausing again. See if it goes through. Nope. You need that win more than I do. Game. Alright, my opening hand does not have red mana. Hopefully I will draw some. My opponent's on 6, and I have a Thoughtseize, and we're doing the same thing as previously. Opponent says, love your legacy videos. Didn't expect to see you in Modern. Well, I'm here, and it's nice to have a pleasant opponent, as opposed to the clown from last round. Okay, as far as this hand goes, I have Fatal Push for Ocelot Pride. I don't need to remove that immediately. I might want to take something like Static Prison because I have a few decent permanents here. In an ideal world, I will draw a red source or an Orcish Bowmasters and deal with Ocelot Pride without actually using my Fatal Push, and I can potentially save that for Flage later. Alright. Sholdred's Edict. I'm just gonna play Boseiju and hold up Fatal Push, probably using it on Ocelot Pride. It's not an efficient use of mana, but I don't really need to open up Emperor of Bones to something like Thraben Charm immediately. I think I'm gonna go ahead and just... Well, this can be saved for Najani, though. I'm gonna be mana efficient. Alright, please sacrifice a non-token creature. Bam. Cool. Goblin Bombardment comes down. Red mana? Not red mana. Then it is time for the Emperor. We'll just start eating stuff from my opponent's graveyard. I am fine giving my opponent the Flage value on the Emperor of Bones. I think I just need to use my mana. And they can throw it at my face for one. Nice. Big boy. We've got Fatal Push for if Flage comes back. Hopefully I'll draw some red mana. I have 3 red cards here. I could just pass my, not this turn, but the previous turn with Fatal Push available and try to use Emperor of Bones to more permanently answer Flage. That's like perfectly valid as well. Thoughtseize, sure. I guess like there technically could be an enchantment in my opponent's hand, right? So maybe I lose out on a point of damage for not casting Thoughtseize pre-combat. Yeah, I mean, that is exactly what I talked about, right? Am I taking it, though? Or am I just taking Galvanic Discharge? I'm just going to take Galvanic Discharge, because whatever I put in Graveyard is somewhat likely to just leave Graveyard from Flage. Flage doesn't kill my Tarmogoyf, right? If their Graveyard is nuked, because I have Sorcery Instant Creature. Opponent could set up a multi-turn line with Thraben Charm, though. So I guess that's a thing. Urza's Saga. That is not red mana. And this is definitely some of the mana awkwardness of my deck. I'll still play it. Yeah, that's fair. I may end up Fatal Pushing this Guide of Souls. It's currently my way to answer a Flage. I'll need Revolt, but that in theory shouldn't be too tough. Damn it. So, I'm going to lose my Tarmogoyf, but my opponent is going to lose their Flage. Arena of Glory doing some serious work here. So this marks 3 damage on my Tarmogoyf. Oh, I guess they put an enchantment into my graveyard. My opponent gains a life. This is a 5/6. Adding instant to graveyard does not change anything. Adding creature to graveyard does not change anything. Thanks, I hate it. Answer Flage for now. I'll take 2. And be at 11. And then hopefully I just draw a red land, get Urza Saga going, off red and 6. Thank you, deck. Oh, that's rough. In good news, opponent's going to think I am a black-green deck going into the post-sideboard games. In bad news, game 1 odds not looking great. Bowmasters is okay. Opponent has 1 energy right now, so I can, in theory, try to snipe Guide of Souls in combat. That's haste for creature spells. Damn. That's very annoying. It kind of makes Orcish Bowmasters not worth playing because my opponent can just fling the tokens at the Orcish Bowmaster body. I guess that's saving me points of life, though. So I'll sadly accept. So I'm going to ping that, but my opponent can now attack with both, get 2 more energy, and make Guide of Souls fly, so the ping doesn't actually accomplish anything. I guess it accomplishes the Voice of Victory not having flying. These are killing my 2 creatures anyway, so I'll take the blocks. But now I think even drawing a red land is just too slow here. Voice of Victory plus Goblin Bombardment, very strong. Yeah, so I can go to 4, play a blocker, die in the air, split across 2 bodies. GG's. So I think I boarded in a bunch of stuff that looked like this previously. I think I said I don't like Thoughtseizes. I think I said I don't like Rydia when I'm boarding in Pyroclasm, and we saw the awkwardness with Fable of the Mirror Breakers front and backside running into Pyroclasm as well. And I think I was looking at these too. So one of these I didn't play last time. I think I forgot I had another Spell Bomb. I wonder if I go down 1 Bowmaster. In the previous match, I was not super happy with how that was actually lining up against my opponent's cards, despite the fact that it is reroll removal versus some of my opponent's stuff. This seems fine. I've got land drops covered. We're just going to get the ETB tapped land out of the way. That's fine, but a little mana intensive. 18. And a Ghost Vacuum. Pretty good against the Ren and 6 that I was intending on playing. Yeah, that's really awkward. I guess I'm just leaving up Bowmasters then. Yeah, I'm just going to leave up Bowmasters and Fatal Push. Alright, opponent's chilling. I want green-black here. And I think I'm just going to take some Bowmaster hits here and get some chip damage in now. Another Ren and 6. Okay. Send it. Opponent's at 15. I think I will still cast it. And I'm just going to plus for no ret value rather than just ping my opponent for 1. So we'll see how this all plays out. Raven Charm on my Urza Saga. Disgusting. Now my opponent gets to eat that with Ghost Vacuum too. So much for that Ren and 6 value. Fable's good for my opponent. I can punch the token out of the way. That's whatever. Ooh. Yeah. I would like to start by eating Ghost Vacuum, and then you can pick which one of these somewhat broken cards I get back with Ren and 6. I'm going to get Boseiju back. It's not the black land that I would want, but it's fine. I will grab Boseiju. I am going to throw it down as a land drop. I have plenty of removal spells here, and I will just pass the turn here. I have Bowmasters for this Fable trigger. My opponent might have Galvanic Discharge or whatever, but that's fine. Oh my god, Flage and Seasoned Pyromancer and Arena of Glory all going to graveyard. Sorry, Arena of Glory to play, meaning that the Flage gets haste here, and I don't have Fatal Push up right now. That's rough. That feels game-winning. So gain some life, gain some more life. This is plenty of damage on attack to kill Ren and 6, which honestly maybe is ignorable. Like, if opponent just sends all of this at my face, I would not be surprised. They are going to kill the Planeswalker, though. Oh, and we have energy to spend. Yeah, I think my opponent wins either way here. EE. Okay, so play EE on 0. Rack. Fatal Push. Short-term problem fixed. Long-term problems abound. Opponent. God. Goblin Bombardment. Ajani. Am I dead right now? Slash, was I dead if my opponent Arena of Glory did? I guess they can just turn it into the Planeswalker, and that's just actually better, because that's 3 damage versus 1. Yep, makes sense. So now I take 3, and then my opponent Goblin Bombardments my face for the remaining damage. GG's, well played. That was so much more pleasant than my previous opponent, who, when I got down to low time, started harassing me in chat, and I had to block them. GG's. All right. Opponent fetches and plays Ignoble Hierarch, which I can ping with Ren and 6 on turn 2, and then hopefully have a thick Tarmogoyf to make it easy to do cool things this game. I have to read cards. So this is from Scars, I know that. +1/+1 counter, indestructible, 6/4. Okay. I'm going to assume... So on my opponent's... The mutagenic growth saves stuff from Ren and 6. This is actually going to be a little awkward to interact with, isn't it? I think, oddly, I'm going to take mutagenic growth. I think that just optimizes my chances of having my Ren and 6 kill 1 or more creatures. I wonder if my opponent is playing Tifa in this deck. I saw a screenshot of an Infect player playing it in Tifa, just like not caring about the fact that it doesn't have Infect, but just scale up plus Tifa plus fetch land equals good. Alright, there's Plague Stinger, and that is this gone as well. So now I will fetch, pick up a green land, maybe green-black, red and green, and kill Plague Stinger. Now, can my opponent kill Ren and 6 this turn? Yes, absolutely. They can do something like scale this up and then crash in and kill it. Generated Rot Priest. But at the point where the scale up is used like that, that's potentially a whole bunch of infect damage that I did not take later on. So I am good with that. Hey, that makes my mana better. This is of a spell, right? Not spell or ability. Yes. I guess I just do this now. Unless it's just better to play out Tarmogoyf and try to kill my opponent. Yeah, it might be better to just play Tarmogoyf and try to kill my opponent. I think I'm largely ignoring the functionality of Urza Saga as producing tokens here, at least on the first one. I think it is likely going to be better to play Tarmogoyf into Tarmogoyf plus Bowmasters. Yeah. Sure. Okay, that means I don't need to throw down another Urza Saga this turn. It is Punchy o'clock. I will go to Punchies. Opponent gets hurt from Punchies. Then I will throw down a Goyf and pass. I'm going to attempt to use Bowmasters to snipe Inkmoth Nexus. Scale up on Inkmoth. I hope not. I hope not, because that'll hurt if you have a protection spell here. Got lucky. At which point I just give a Tarmogoyf trample and lifelink, and I am probably good to go. So Pithing Needle for Inkmoth Nexus is fine. EE for small dudes is fine, and then I have 4 more removal spells to play. I believe it is correct to board out Rydia, but I have not seen this card in action yet, and it is round 5. I'm going to keep it. It is lower to the ground than something like Fable, to its credit. Vacuum out, Spellbomb out, Haywire Might out. I still have a couple of Urza Saga targets. Thoughtseize is okay. The information is super valuable. Most of the rest of this stuff is removal. I believe 3 Rydia out is correct, but let's try Fable. This is fine. Pyroclasm is probably good value here. Abrupt Decay is cool. Hopefully I don't get nuked on the first turn. Land drop 2. 17. Might of Old Krosa. Yes. That's fine. That's another thing to get swept up in a Pyroclasm, hopefully. But I am taking 6 Infect on turn 2, which is really rough. We want green-black here. That means Underground Mortuary. I'm going to say no. Let's just grow the potential Tarmogoyf here. I'm thinking about not playing Mountain because there's some things that I could draw where I want to Abrupt Decay plus something else next turn. But I might want Rydia plus Fetch Land next turn. So I am going to play it out this way. Ooh, no. Inkmoth Nexus does not get Abrupt Decayed. This is the thing that is going to kill me, not this. I think I am going to play Rydia and attempt to loot my way to a short-term solution here. Loot the swamp. Nope. Batch. I think I am going to shock so that if I draw Fatal Push or Thoughtseize, they are castable. Yes. Loot Forest. Pick up Tarmogoyf. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start casting something and then think the better of it and pass, and maybe that saves my opponent from going all in and killing me. Inkmoth is live. Something like Scale Up on Inkmoth kills me. Yeah, I don't have it. You've got it. GG. Rydia was sweet there, though. The tension with Pyroclasm is very real, though. I'm maybe not saying that Pyroclasm shouldn't be in the deck or anything, but it is very real. Emperor of Bones Pyroclasm combo. On 6, I'll keep this. Leyline of the Void. You've got it. I mean, that does some stuff. Makes my Tarmogoyf smaller. That resolves. I think I am just going to Pyroclasm that. I could Witherbloom command and just drain my opponent because of the Leyline. So let's go red-black Surveil land here. Or Theater. Thoughtseize. Nah. I'm very good at addressing stuff in play. I'm great at addressing stuff in play. Kill a creature and drain. Yeah. Again, mutagenic growth type cards do exist, which interact favorably versus the Pyroclasm effects. Yep. The Witherbloom command was just a weird Thoughtseize. Inkmoth is pretty good here. And my opponent is pretty unlikely to play out extra creatures to give my Pyroclasm value right now. Rydia Pyroclasm combo again. I think I am just attempting to Pyroclasm this creature. It's just really awkward. If my opponent does not have more land drops, though, the Ink Moth can potentially be awkward. That is a second mutagenic growth. Real rough for me. I'm hoping to draw another land and then be able to Pyroclasm this, Fatal Push this, and have a stable-ish board. Okay, Rot Priest eats it to Pyroclasm. That's great. Or at least it does in theory. The opponent could still have more protection spells. They did not go in on this here. I think I am Pyroclasming over Renin 6. Renin 6 is not having the possibility of getting lands out of my graveyard here. And while it's a repeated pinger, it's not actually a repeated pinger on this specific board. Royal Treatment. That's hexproof and a +1/+1 counter. Okay. The difference here between having that extra mana and not is so brutal. I played a fetch land, right? Yeah. So my opponent's Leyline of the Void definitely did stuff here. Opponent has one card, but is in an okay position. My Renin 6 doesn't ping Ink Moth down. Neither does my more other Renin 6. Alright, I think I am Fatal Pushing a creature on my opponent's turn. Ink Moth is live. Opponent sends in. I'm not going to block. I think it is harder to kill Ink Moth than this. So I am going to take out the Ink Moth, but this is still going to give me a poison counter. And it gets worse if my opponent has a protection spell on top of this. Which they either didn't or didn't bother to use. I am still at 7 infect counters here, with 2 more creatures that contribute. Terminate. Well, I am in the danger zone. My opponent can cycle this peatland after surveilling. The Ward 1 is real here. I need them to basically have Stone Cold Nothing. And then I think I need to draw another Fatal Push specifically, because it needs to be something that can answer this for 1 mana. Oh my god, Terminate is not castable off Forest. I was supposed to play Rydia. Shit. Okay. 15. 9. They Abrupt Decay their own creature for the final one. Yeah, so I can block with Rydia to save 1 counter there, or my opponent just Abrupt Decays Rydia, gets in for the same amount, kills me with something another turn down the line. I just really needed another land desperately that game. GG's though. All right, let's wrap this one up. Overall thoughts on the deck list here. I know our record wasn't great today, but I don't think this deck was all that bad. I think Rydia Pyroclasm is very awkward. And since the Boros energy decks are such a huge part of this format, and so are other aggro decks like that mono red slick shot show off deck, that puts some tension on the sideboarding if you actually want this card to do stuff. We did not return a Saga with this to play. Mathematically speaking, I don't know how likely you are to do that. I think you view that as upside and you want to play this for the looting. You do have a lot of situational cards in this deck, and being able to turn your Thoughtseizes into removal spells or your excess lands into real cards of any nature is quite real. This can get a lot of value over time, but I just never drew one in a game 1, I think, the entire league. So I guess the question is, if you want to continue testing Rydia, what do you play over Pyroclasm? Or do you just accept that Pyroclasm is so important for the Boros energy matchup that you need it, and you just board out the Rydias like I was doing? Assuming that you're trying to loot towards some of this like situational sideboard hate stuff, Rydia fetch land, maybe Rydia multiple fetch lands with Renin 6 can be pretty cool. But I don't think I gathered enough data to know for sure how good it is. I guess Rydia also returns a Fable of the Mirror Breaker, although that did not come up either. I'd say the jury is still out on this one. I would absolutely play something that looks like this again. I don't know if my play experience here was super typical or not. I'm going to give the general deck building a thumbs up. Although, again, I will say that the Urza Saga colorless mana downside did come up a few times. I don't think I would make any major changes without playing some more games other than thinking about this. All right, with that, I think I'm going to go ahead and call it a day. I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope you have a great rest of the day too. See ya!